Hello everyone, welcome to Victor Senior High School's virtual open house. I'm Mrs. Duckworth and I'm going to talk to you today about sculpture. I've been teaching sculpture in Victor Senior High School for about the last 7 or 8 years. I love teaching that class and excited to tell you about it. Before we talk about the class, I just want to get to some housekeeping stuff. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. I teach in 2 different classrooms and I share a classroom, so the phone is kind of difficult, but if you do want to talk live, you can certainly email me and we can set up a time for a phone conversation. There is my website there if you want to jot that down, but most importantly, Google Classroom and School Tool are going to be the best ways for you to kind of keep track of where your child is in the class. So I'm going to show you quickly what Google Classroom looks like. So this is our Google Classroom page. If you have not joined yet, you can have your students invite you as a parent, or I can give you the Google Classroom code and you can join that way. So if you go to this page, all of the newest assignments are there. You can see we're working on a cardboard relief sculpture, the virtual work. So this says like gold group due, that's our virtual work. A quicker way to check Google Classroom might be to go to this classwork tab and things are listed in here. So there's the virtual work right here. For the gold group and for the blue group. So you can see that's the stuff that your students will be doing at home. And then there's projects, there's a link for Zoom, and then there's some materials and resources. There I'll put videos, demonstrations, things like that. The Zoom link is in case anyone is out or for my remote learners. And then details on the projects are there. And you might not see as much as I do, depending on how you join. I only post certain things for the blue group and certain things for the gold group. So your page might look different. So that's Google Classroom. And then you can compare if there's some virtual work in here for, say, the cardboard project. And if you see in School Tool that that's not completed, you can go to Google Classroom, you can see what the project is, and then have a more meaningful conversation with your child about the work that they need to complete. So that's Google Classroom. The gist of sculpture, it's a half-year, half-credit course. A lot of students take Sculpture 1 and 2. Then it becomes a full year and a full credit course. It does fulfill credit for the art, music, and tech requirement for our Regents diploma. We work with a variety of materials in sculpture, and we focus on students improving their 3D design skills. So we'll work with wire, plaster, cardboard. We do things like altered books, where we take a book and we turn that into a sculpture. We do a lot of different things with sculpture. Use a lot of different materials over the course of the year. And it is a course that's designed for art and non-art majors. Most students should have taken studio art before they take sculpture, but we do make exceptions in some cases for seniors that are looking for an interesting 3D class to take. How I do assessments in sculpture, there is a weekly process and participation grade. I usually put it in School Tool every Friday. It's a 20-point grade and it's based on their work ethic and their participation during, not only during the 85 minutes of studio time that I see them once a week at school, but it's also, in addition, it's for their engagement in the remote activities. So a lot of the sculpture remote work is going to be taking your projects home and working on them for anywhere from 1.5 hours to 2 or 3 hours, depending on how much the students want to get done. So if a project leaves here I see students in sculpture on Tuesdays and Fridays. If a sculpture leaves here on Tuesday and it comes back the following Tuesday and it looks exactly the same, then my guess is they did not engage in any remote work to complete the project. So that's going to affect the process and participation grade. We do sketchbooks for every project. Basically, it's brainstorming, journaling, research, finding reference images, things like that. And each project will have its own individual sketchbook component, and the grading for those is included in the projects. And then we try to get 4 projects in every quarter in sculpture. Yes, 4 projects every quarter, but sometimes that's not as easy, particularly now with our situation, but we'll do as many projects as we can and work with materials at home and at school. The weekly process and participation grade is worth half their grade. Sketchbooks, excuse me, as I said, are included in their individual project grades, and the project grades are worth 50% of their grade. So it's a nice balance. Some kids don't work as hard, but maybe they just naturally have an inclination towards sculpture, and their projects are great, but they don't work very hard. And sometimes there's students who really, really work really hard and they kind of bust their behinds and do as much as they can, but their project might not come out as nice as they hoped because it's a new material. It's something that they haven't worked with before. So I try to balance out both their effort and their work ethic and their engagement with the outcome that they create. And my expectations for students are pretty simple. They come to class prepared to learn. They use the materials appropriately. They have a work-oriented attitude. I always say respect is the most important thing. It probably should be the first bullet. To respect each other, respect themselves, respect the materials, and that's the basic gist of being successful in an art class and in school, is in life, I think, is to just be respectful. I ask that they communicate with me when they're struggling. So if they're having a hard time with a project or a hard time working on it at home, really that just they talk to me. I always tell them I have a kind heart. And if they can come and talk to me, then we can work through it together. I ask that they have an open mind and that they try and they experiment and they revise. They're always welcome to continue to work and revise a project, even after it's graded, right until the end of the 10-week marking period. And that gives them the opportunity to improve the project, both for a better grade, but also, and more importantly, for them to have a more successful outcome and something that they can be proud of. I also ask that they participate in a constructive manner. And the most important one, maybe more so than the respect, is to enjoy the class and create works of art that they can be proud of. And hopefully they bring those things home and they show them to you and you can see all the cool stuff that they're doing. Let me move my face out of here so you can see this finger crossed there. Things to look forward to, hopefully, no guarantees. We usually have a faculty art show music recital every October. This year we've pushed it back until March or April, and hopefully that can still happen. We have a huge art show every year called Random Acts of Art. It's in May. It's usually the same night as the budget vote. And again, hopefully that happens. And then our last big art thing is an art signing day. It's usually the second Thursday in June, and it's for our college-bound art seniors. We have a signing day for them and cake and all that good stuff. And again, hopefully that can happen, but I'm not making any guarantees, but if those things do happen, we will send communications home about that. And that's it with sculpture. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Have a great night.